Hi, Jimmy here, and I am in front of this lovely little fire for aesthetic purposes, and because it's really cold. Place names. So the purpose of this video is kind of twofold. One is to kind of gauge and see if you guys are interested in me doing more Welsh language stuff and Welsh cultural stuff. The other side of it is I find the etymology of toponymy, I find the origin of place names really, really interesting, and I believe that it can reveal a great deal about the history of a place. And one thing that I think does that really well is looking at Welsh place names outside of Wales. And I don't mean places where Welsh people left and were colonisers. I mean places here in Great Britain where I am, that is England and Scotland, that have Welsh place names. And they are there, and we're going to look at some of them. Because in the period we normally talk about, in the Viking Age and in the sub-Roman period, the speaking of Welsh, Old Welsh, would have been much broader across the island. People would have been referring to place names that have now been lost. They would have been using Welsh place names that have since been replaced by Irish or Pictish or Gaelic or English or that other one, Old Norse place names, right? If you're down, are you down? Please be down. I've done the video now. So you might have read recently in the press or wherever that there's been a bit of controversy, mostly manufactured controversy, about national parks in Wales, specifically Bannabrycheiniog and Eryri, using only their Welsh place names as their official names. And it's caused controversy because people are saying, whoa, it's anti-English and it's all this, that and the other. And it's not really, as far as I'm aware. That's what they do in France, so it seems fair that that's what they do in Cymru. There are also petitions for things like only referring to my homeland as Cymru, because Wales is a name that's been given to the place, which means kind of place of the aliens or place of the foreigners, which isn't really nice considering we're the natives here. Anyway, it's interesting to think of Welsh place names causing controversy in the UK. If we go back 1,000 years, Welsh place names would have been spread much more widely across the island of Great Britain because the native Brythonic population would have been spread a lot more widely around the island as well. And that is why you get Welsh place names outside what is now Cymru, what is now Wales. And I'm not just talking about the places in Herefordshire and Shropshire and Cheshire and Gloucestershire that would have been in Wales. They would have been Cymraeg until some of them the 16th or 17th centuries, when the map was literally just redrawn, because English governments are very good at stealing things. And I'm not just talking about them, I'm also talking about places that you wouldn't necessarily think of. One of the more obvious places is, of course, Cumbria. Cumbria isn't very far from Cymru, which is our name for ourselves and also our country. Cymru. It's a subtle difference in pronunciation and spelling. If you're interested, by the way, in me doing a video in basic Welsh pronunciation and that kind of thing, introduction to Welsh, do let me know in the comments if that's something that you would enjoy, because obviously it's not my normal historical thing, so I need to know that you guys would watch it. Welsh place names exist in Cumbria. You have the name Cumbria, of course, for example. So you have places with names like Penrith. Penrith doesn't take a great deal of thought. Penrhyd, the top or head of the ford. Penrhyd, Penrith, Penrhyd, I'm confusing myself now. Penrith, Penrhyd. You have places like Carlisle, Caerlywelydd. Car is from the Welsh Caer, meaning a fortress. Our Welsh word for Chester, for example, is Caer, the fortress. There are lots of Caerau in Wales. Caergybi, Caerleon, and so forth. Generally, it will be the fortress of somebody's name. Caergybi, the fortress of St. Cubbie. In English, it's called Holyhead, which, yeah, it's a headland and it's kind of holy, but Caergybi is a Roman fortress wherein an early medieval sub-Roman Brythonic monk set up a monastic cell, he was then made a saint as one of the many saints of North Wales, and the church was then built on top of where his monastic cell was built, and the town of Gaergybi was built around the fort. It's kind of a lot more evocative. You have places like Blencarn, Blaen, Blaen in front of, or the front of, Blaencarn, Blaenagarn, in front of the Dirty Great Rock, effectively. So, Blencarn, Penrith, Carlisle. I'm confusing myself again. Penrith, Carlisle, Blencarn. All of these places are Brythonic names. They are Old Welsh names. Cumbric, the language of Cumbria, is basically Old Welsh with a few things spelt differently. And the same goes for Kernowek, Cornish, and also Breige, Breton. These are all Brythonic languages. They're all intimately linked, and they were, at one point, probably completely intelligible to people from other parts of the Brythonic world. Somebody from Breton-speaking Brittany would be able to communicate with somebody from Kernowek-speaking Cornwall. Cernyw in Welsh, Cerno in Cornish. It's not a long jump to make, right? But there's more as well. If you go further north, up into Scotland, you'll come across Ecclefechan. Hi, Editing Jimmy here. You can tell from the headphones. And oh, annoyingly, I look way better in this lighting and here. But anyway, I'm back home right now, and I'm just editing the video on Welsh place names, which I think is fascinating still. If a little slow, forgive, I was tired at the time. But this bit of the video looked really bad, and as I was editing it, there was loads of crackling from the fire, so I've decided just to re-edit and re-record this little piece of the video on Ecclefechan. And Ecclefechan is actually Eccl, which is the same root word as eglwys in Welsh, and église en français, yeah? So church, and the fechan part of Ecclefechan is for Saint Fechin of Forbar, and Fechin, or Fechin, I think might be how you pronounce it in Irish. Do forgive me, Irish listeners. Fechin was a 7th century Irish saint who established the monastery at Forbar in Westmeath. So Fechin of Forbar is the saint that Ecclefechan is named for. Eglwys Fechin, Ecclefechan, right? And there's also, west of Edinburgh, in West Lothian, Ecclesmachan. And Ecclesmachan is exactly the same. It is Eglwys Machan, Saint Machan's church. And Machan was a 12th century Scottish saint. And this is something that we do a lot in Wales. We have Llan somewhere, or we have Eglwys somewhere. And it will be generally the parish of the saint that established the church. So if you go to Anglesey, if you go to Ynys Môn, you'll see loads of churches. You know, Llanbabo, Saint Pabo's church, Llan Fihangel, Saint Michael's, all these sorts of places. And it's exactly the same here in sort of southern central belt Scotland. So we've got Ecclefechan, which is Ecclefechan, which is Saint Fechin's church, and we've got Ecclesmachan, which is Saint Machan's church. So there you go. Enjoy a bit of that. Right, back to original recording Jimmy. Past Jimmy, present Jimmy, presenting Jimmy. We still haven't given him a name. We need to give him a name. What's my name? This is all absolutely fascinating, but I want to know what sponsorship Jimmy's got to say. These stubborn stains. Oh, hello there. Just caught me doing a bit of kit maintenance on my backup pair of reenactment shoes. Kit maintenance is, of course, an absolutely essential part of any historical reenactor's regime, and one of the pieces of kit that you may not have taken full care of are your internet-capable devices. Now, I'm willing to bet that some of you guys really enjoy watching a TV show or a film or something whilst you're cleaning your reenactment kit, and wouldn't it be great if you could watch any streaming service in any part of the world without having to worry about stupid stuff like internet censorship? Well, with nordvpn.com/Welsh, you can do precisely that. NordVPN helps to protect your device, whether it's an iOS or Android mobile phone, or a laptop or a desktop computer. You can use a virtual private network to bypass internet censorship, get yourself a little bit of a security boost, and if you go to nordvpn.com/Welsh, you also get 4 months extra on a 2-year subscription. So there. Personally, I've been getting into a couple of Canadian sitcoms and TV dramas whilst I've been cleaning my shoes, and it's possible for me to actually access them because I use NordVPN, and I genuinely do. I use NordVPN on my laptop. It's on there right now. It's open right now on my laptop. I think I'm in Montreal at the moment, as far as the internet is concerned. And this is the kind of stuff you can do if you go to nordvpn.com/Welsh. You use the code Welsh, and you get this exclusive extra 4 months on a 2-year subscription. And hey, you know what? If you decide that you don't want to carry on after a little while, which seems highly unlikely because NordVPN rocks, then you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. You know, it's a win-win situation. You get access to loads of cool streaming services, and to be honest with you, I've just learned if you go to Moldova on NordVPN and you surf from Moldova, you get loads of less ads because YouTube doesn't place ads in Moldova, apparently. So why don't you watch my videos from Moldova and skew my analytics by going to nordvpn.com/Welsh, use the code Welsh at checkout and get yourself 4 months extra free on a 2-year subscription with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Look at all these cool graphics they've given me. Incidentally, talking about Ecclefechan and Ecclesmachan, pretty much anywhere with Eccles in the name is generally thought to stem from Eglwys, or possibly Ecclesia. So Eccles in West Greater Manchester, look out, because I think we might stake a claim. In fact, Eccles, West Manchester, Manchester in general, if you ever want to just join Wales, let us know. Liverpool, same goes. Chester, we're coming for you. This naming tradition, this toponymic tradition that we have in Wales of calling something the church of somewhere or the parish of somewhere extends further. There are false friends. I don't think Lancaster is a llan. Llan is probably the most common start for a place name in Wales, and it means a parish of somewhere, or a parish of somebody. So you have places like Llanrhaeadr y Mochnant, Llanalhaearn, Llanystymdwy, Llamarfechan, Llamarfawr, Llantwit, all of these kinds of places. I don't think Lancaster is a llan. I think that's a false friend. But it's interesting that the Brythonic place names are very, very few in the southeast of what is now England, and they get much more common up towards the northwest. We have places like Penrith, Carlisle, Blencathra, Blencarn, Helvellyn, which is a famous mountain in Cumbria. Helvellyn translates roughly as yellow pasture, pastureland. Helva is a number of things, but in older Welsh dialects, it's also a part of a mountainside where sheep are kept. So Helvellyn, melyn is the Welsh word for yellow. Now, it doesn't look particularly yellow, but there are some subtleties to using colours in the old forms of Welsh. And an example is Glasgow, glas cae. Cae means a field, and sometimes a hollow, depending on the spelling. So a glas cae in modern Welsh would be field blue. Glas cae, blue field. Blue fields are underwater because they've been flooded. But in older Welsh, glass can also be used to mean grey or green, because you can have like a bluey green and you can have like a bluey grey. So Glasgow, Glasgow, is actually a green field, a meadow. Kind of makes sense, right? Speaking of Glasgow, Glasgow is in Strathclyde, which is two things, Strath and Clyde. Strath is cognate with the Welsh ystrad, which is one of our many words for valley. Strata, yeah, in Latin, like Strata Florida in Wales. Ystrad Fleur, Ystrad Mynach, yeah. The Clyde bit, Ystrad Clyd. Clyd has several different meanings, including things like booty, wealth, baggage, a form of conveyance. So I like to think of it as the wealthy valley, the rich valley, the fertile valley. Glasgow is in Ystrad Clyd, which is north of Rheged, which is, again, north of where we are now, Cymru. Now, it's interesting to note with all of these Scottish place names that some of the place names that are clearly Old Welsh or Brythonic in origin in Scotland are in places where many Scottish people argue Gaelic wasn't spoken, and it's nonsense. Gaelic was spoken across vast amounts of Scotland, including Edinburgh. Edinburgh, however, in Gaelic is Dunedin, and Dunedin in Welsh is Caer Edin, or Caer Eidin. And Caeredin, in Older Welsh, is Caer Eidhin. And you can already see the links. Caer, fortress, Eidhin, who or what is Eidhin? And there are various theories here, but the one that I really like is it's meant to be Eithin, Caer Eithin, and Eithin is gorse. If you've ever climbed up Salisbury Crags or Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh, Cadair Arthur in Welsh, you will know that it is absolutely coated in gorse, and it's really bright yellow, and it basically shines like the sun. It's that golden in the summertime. So I really like the idea that the original name for Edinburgh was the Gorsey Fortress. And that's the thing that we do in Wales. We have things like Caer Gaeilge, the fortress of the cockerel. And I love the idea that Edinburgh's original descriptor, its original name was, oh yeah, it's the fortress that's got a load of gorse on it. Dyn, as in Dunedin, in Welsh today is the short form of dinas. Dinas is city. But in Older Welsh, in the Middle Welsh, a dinas is a hill fort. So if you go around parts of Wales where you see that there's like a little village that it's called like Dinas Dilas or Dinas Mawddwy, it's not because that place used to be a big city, it's because there's a hill fort nearby. If you look on an Ordnance Survey map, you'll see an Iron Age hill fort somewhere. So these are place names that involve 2,000-year-old settlements. These are often pre-Roman Iron Age settlements. And they're still how we refer to the place now. So our place names in Wales tell you a hell of a lot about the history of a place. They tell you 2,000 years plus of history in some instances. And that is why our place names, yn Gymraeg, are really important to us. That's why people like Titiroan are really, really active in encouraging us to use our Welsh place names, because they've got such stories and they've got such history associated with them. Right now I'm here in Wales and I'm working trwy gyfrwng y Gymraeg. I'm working through the medium of Welsh. I'm speaking very, very little English, which is why I probably sound a lot more Welsh in this video than I normally do. But one of the things that I'm doing while I'm here is talking to people about how Welsh place names are being used and how they're kind of being weaponised in a really interesting way. And I'm not suggesting that we as a Welsh independence movement should be insisting on the English giving back all the places that have Welsh place names, but it would be hilarious if we did, because we would also get Dover, because Dover comes from the word dwfr, which means water in Welsh, as in dwfrliw, watercolour. Normally in modern Welsh we say dŵr, but the W has a little tor bach on it, which suggests that there is a letter missing, and that letter is V, as in the V in Dover. Dover and Dover, right? I love that. I absolutely love that the main port that most people come into when they come into England has a Welsh name. It is beautiful to me, and I love it, and I feast upon that all the time. Incidentally, if I sound a bit hoarse, I've had a bit of a cold this week, so apologies. Also, a lot of smoke coming from this flue. I think it needs cleaning out. If that's not enough for you, Scotland, we've also got places like Melrose Abbey, Melrose in the Borders, Moel Rhos, the bald moorland, Moel Rhos. We've got Moelion here. Moel, bald, is a common name for a hill or a moorland that doesn't have any trees on it in Wales. So Moel y Ci, Moel Gynghorion, Moel Gron, places like that. There's also the magnificent Llyn Lithgow. And Llyn Lithgow's etymology is interesting. It is apparently from Llyn Laeth Cai. And Llyn Laeth Cai means the lake by the moist hollow. Don't. We're moving on. So, Welsh toponymy is all over the place. Stratford-on-Avon, famously the home of one of England's most famous English language plagiarists. Writers, the Stratford, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Strat is part of Ystrad in itself. Linguists, let me know. But the Avon is Avon, which is our word for river. Stratford on the river, right? I could believe it's Rhyd Ystrad, yeah? Rhyd, Ford, Ystrad, Valley, Rhyd Ystrad, ar yr Afon. Makes sense to me. The Avon probably has its own name on a Gymraeg. If anybody knows what the River Avon's name is in Welsh, feel free to write it in the comments below. And it is always so fun for me to trundle around on Google Maps and just have a look at places with Welsh place names outside of Wales, because it shows you the historical spread of different languages. The fact that there are people in England who don't know that Welsh people speak Welsh as their everyday language mystifies me. But it also mystifies me that there are people in England who don't realise there are Welsh place names in England. And it's astonishing to me, because 1,000 years ago, 800 years ago, it would have been much, much more common, probably, for people to be referring to places in England with a Welsh name that have since lost that Welsh name. There are probably many, many villages and hamlets in England that used to have Welsh names that have simply fallen away. And a number of them will probably be because of things like Viking raids. And we suffer from that in Wales as well. The Isle of Anglesey, the city of Swansea, places like that. They have Welsh names, Ynys Môn, Abertawe. And as early medieval reenactors, obviously, we love Old Norse, we love the language, we love the culture, we're fascinated by it. But it is interesting to see that it's not just English that replaces other toponymy, right? The English language, kind of wherever it goes, has a habit of replacing the native name for places, right? But it's interesting to see that Old Norse did similar stuff as well. Other languages have also done that when they sort of march into other... We're rambling a bit now, so there you go. I hope you enjoyed this brief look at some Welsh place names outside of Wales, and if you can think of any more, if you can think of any really cool ones that I've missed, if your favourite one wasn't on the list, then pop it in the comments below, let me know. And again, as always, if you want to support the channel financially, we have the Patreon link and the Coffee link in the description below. If you just want to support the channel by being here, like and subscribe. Diolch yn fawr iawn am ymuno. Thank you very much indeed for joining. And as ever, tan y tro nesa, till the next time, hwyl fawr. Bye bye.